Guys, this is Tripp here from trippadvice.com, and today I'm really excited because I put together this great little presentation talking to you guys about seduction. So if you're watching this right now, then you probably opted in for this wonderful free product that I'm giving away to teach you about how to seduce beautiful women and make them want you. So welcome. I want to give you first a congratulations because you've taken the next step to really learning this stuff, and I'm always praising you guys for, taking that step forward, researching this stuff, studying this stuff. And I'll get into this later, the most important thing you could do is to be able to go out there and apply this, right? So I always say it should be 1/3 studying, 2/3 action. Okay, so this is part of your 1/3 right now in terms of your time investment in learning this stuff and getting real results. So welcome to the 15-minute seduction course, where I'll be teaching you what you need to know in order to seduce women in 15 minutes and make them want you. Okay, so let's get right to it. Yes, welcome. Okay, before we get into everything, why should you listen to me? Who is Tripp? Why am I talking today and presenting today on this topic? What's the deal? So let's start from the beginning, and I'll make it real quick. When I started off learning this stuff, I had just as many problems as you listening today, probably even more. Okay, I had really bad approach anxiety. I did not know how to talk to women. I did not know how to seduce women. I didn't know the first thing about attraction. So when I started doing this, I went out many, many weeks in a row. I'm talking we'd be going out sometimes 3 weeks in a row practicing this stuff. And I did this starting in about 2007, 2008, when I started doing this stuff. And again, I had no idea what to do. I didn't even know what seduction was. I didn't even know what to say to a girl. So I started going out, putting in a lot of practice. I worked with dating coaches. I worked with a lot of people to really get this down because I wanted to learn what it took to get and attract beautiful women and, be able to have my choice. I wanted to be the chooser. I wanted to be the guy who had the pick instead of, just settling for something less. And so what I ended up doing is seeing a ton of amazing results from all my experience, putting a lot of time out there in the field. And again, like I said, I was getting coaching myself. I was also putting in my own time with wingmen, guys who were with me and helping me out, and we were boosting each other up. And then I had a lot of nights that I went out alone because I didn't have people to go out with. So I had to really rely on myself to get this stuff done. And I wanted to learn it so bad. And it was for me. It wasn't to, start my business, which is Tripp Advice. That was not the intention. The intention was to get good at it. And what happened is I did get really good at it, and I saw a lot of great results, and I wanted to start helping guys just like you today who are listening in on this video. So what are some of the results? Well, started going out a lot, meeting a lot of beautiful girls. Here's some pictures from just the last 5 years going out there and really, meeting the types of women that I wanted to meet. And so a lot of these girls you see here are, girls that I still know and past girlfriends and things like that. So this is just a sample of what this could be for you. So this is not me trying to show off to you. This is me trying to, show you what's possible, okay, to be able to seduce the kind of women that you want in your life so you can be the chooser. Okay, so why are you here today? I'm going to take a wild guess. I mean, you probably know, but maybe you should be thinking about that. Think about that for a second. Why are you here today? Why are you watching this video? First off, you don't know how to be attractive to women, right? So that's probably a problem of yours. You don't know how to be attractive. You know that you have to be attractive, but you're not sure the proper steps that you need to take. Right, so we all know that in order to attract a woman, we ourselves have to be attractive. You're not sure how to seduce her. That's probably, again, why you're watching this video. You watched some YouTube videos of mine, and you opted in to learn more about seduction. You learn how to actually get a girl to want you, to crave you. And a lot of guys say that it's not possible to seduce a girl in 15 minutes. I'll tell you, I've been able to do it in 5 minutes. Again, this is not to show off to you. This is to tell you that it can be done and incredible things can happen for you. Now, of course, I was not able to do that right away. It took a lot of practice. I'm not here to give you the magic pill, because I'll tell you what the magic pill is. If you want to know right now, the biggest magic pill, the thing that's going to get you the results you want, is going out there and putting in your time. Now, here's the issue, and this is why we're doing this today, is that the time you put in, it matters on what information you have. Of course, you can put all the time in the world, but if you have the wrong information, you're not going to get anywhere. And that's why we're doing this today, so you can learn the right information and get quick results. So why else? You see beautiful girls all the time, you're not sure what to say or do. I remember I moved out to Los Angeles in 2007, and there were beautiful women everywhere. And if you've ever been out here, or New York City or Miami, those are the 3 hottest cities in America, in my opinion, then you'll know that there are beautiful women everywhere. And they will always be here because new beautiful women flock to those cities, and especially LA, every year to, be models and actresses and all that good stuff. So wherever you are, you see beautiful girls all the time, and you're not sure what to say or do, just like I was. I did not know what to do. There were the beautiful women at the coffee shop, at the mall, at a bar, at a club, wherever, and I didn't know how to handle that. So this is probably why you're here today, because you want to learn exactly what to do, how to seduce her, how to become attractive to women. So before we get into the how-tos, let's start defining things, because the way I like to teach you guys is for you to understand what this stuff is, and then be able to use certain techniques and certain methods, build upon our knowledge here. Okay? So, what is seduction? Very important. Seduction is direct. It's directness. It's being very, very open and honest about your intentions. This is one of the quickest ways to actually avoid the friend zone. If you've ever watched any of my YouTube videos in the friend zone, you already know that in order to avoid it, you have to be direct and honest. And that's the same thing with seduction. That's what seduction is. You're letting a girl know that you think she's beautiful. You're telling her how much you crave her. See, that's the thing that a lot of guys don't understand, is if you want a woman to want you, you're going to first have to want the woman. And we'll go into that in a little bit. But what's really attractive to a woman is knowing that she is wanted, that she's beautiful, that she's desirable in your eyes. Those are very, very important things. And this doesn't end here just in the first time you meet a girl. This goes all through a relationship and even into marriage. A girl, a woman, they want to feel wanted. That's what seduction is. Seduction isn't just something that happens, once. It's perpetual. It continues. Seduction is something that you will be using throughout the course of your relationships with a woman. Whether she's a woman that you're just having sex with for fun, or a woman you get into a relationship with, again, she needs to feel desired. And the way to do that is being direct and honest with her. And again, we'll go into some techniques in a little bit. And I want to let you know before we get into everything that, the way that I have taught in the past and the way I teach now, everything is natural. Okay, so this is not some pickup artist routines or manipulation. This is natural seduction. This is the real way that people seduce. I mean, people have been seducing for, as long as humankind was around. That's how sex happens. That's how love happens. And so I'm going to be teaching you timeless tactics and timeless techniques. And I hate to call them techniques and tactics, but really that's the best way to describe them. But it's stuff that people have been doing for centuries and thousands of years. Okay? So also, the third part of seduction. Seduction is the underlying and overlying tones of sexuality. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, when I say underlying, I mean the subtle hints. The subtle hints that you want her, that you desire her, that you're interested in her. And that's going to be done through flirting. And flirting is basically this dance. And I don't mean that literally, but it's a dance you do with another woman in terms of, showing her that you're interested, but not being too overt about it. So that's part of seduction, but the overlying tones are important too, because the overlying tones are just what I said before. It's the direct and honest approach. So you're going to tell her that you think she's beautiful and that you would do crazy things to her. Now, this is very important that you understand that seduction is part of a process, right? So, of course, there's a lot of things you need to know in terms of being able to seduce. I mean, you're going to have to learn how to approach a girl and talk to a girl. But what's great is you can still use a lot of stuff today, even if you don't know how to do that, okay? And if you want more information on that, you can go to more YouTube videos and more stuff, because I have a lot of information on approaching and talking as well. But today we're just going to stick with seduction. Now, the two forms of seduction that you need to know are physical and verbal. Okay, so those are the two forms of seduction. Well, really, those are the only forms of seduction. That's how you're going to seduce a woman. Okay, you're going to be physical with her, and you're going to be saying certain things to her that are going to make her feel desired, and then therefore start desiring you. You're going to make her feel sexy, not just through the way you touch her, but the way you talk to her. Okay? So let's go over the physical first. So there's many different ways that you can physically seduce a woman, and you need to know both of these, by the way. You're never going to just use physical or just verbal, and we'll go into that in a little bit as well, but you're going to need to know how to do all this stuff. Okay? So take some notes. So first, you need to have certain body language. That's going to make you appear confident, and that's going to make her feel that she's in the presence of an alpha male. The dance in seduction is really this polarity between the masculine and the feminine essence. So what I mean by that is that she needs to feel feminine. You need to feel masculine. You need to feel her femininity. And she needs to feel your masculinity. Now, I know this is a little deep, but this is the science of it. This is how it goes. Okay? So one way for you to be more masculine is to have solid body language. Now, in order to do that, what you're going to need to do is be able to stand tall. You're going to have to make sure you're not fidgeting. You don't look nervous. You're going to have to make sure that your stance is, and the way you're standing, your stance is solid. It's grounded. Okay, and the way to do that is you keep your legs a couple feet apart. You're almost like a tripod. You know what I mean? So your legs are a couple feet apart, and you're standing tall. And the way that you'll put your hands, don't put your hands in your pockets. Don't put your hands behind your back. Don't hold your hands in front of your dick, right? Put your hands to the side. Maybe have your thumbs hanging from each pocket. Stand tall. Be proud. So that's some of the best body language you can have in terms of being that alpha male and being very masculine. Okay? Now, we'll go into some touching. Okay? So there's a lot of different techniques, and I want to go over those right now in terms of what you're going to do to physically seduce a girl, okay, and how you're going to touch her. Now, you might have been coming from a video on how to touch a girl, And so you already know some good stuff, right? So you know you want to touch her waist, you can touch her arm, you can give her the high five when you first start. I just want to go a little deeper into that, okay? And if you haven't come from that video, then we'll go over those right now, okay? There are certain places on a woman's body that you want to touch when you first meet her, okay? Some of those places, like I just said, they include the most sensitive areas of her body, and that's really key. You don't want to just touch a girl anywhere. You want to touch her in that very specific place that's going to turn her on. Now, before I tell you those certain places, I want to let you know how to touch a girl. And the way you're going to do that is very, very gentle. Every move you make is gentle. She's not your buddy, okay? You're not going to give her a hard high five. You're not going to, just, hit her back like, hey, what's going on? No, I know you probably wouldn't do that, but I'm really, really serious in the fact that you got to be super gentle, almost as if you're touching a baby, okay? Now, the reason why you have to be so gentle is because that's what feels sexy and that's what turns her on, this soft touch. The touch where you're almost barely touching her. It makes her kind of shiver. And some places you can do that are the waist, the lower back, the inside of her palm, the inside of her elbow. If you even have an opportunity to touch the back of her neck, of course her lips, but there you would just be kissing. You don't necessarily touch her lips. And also proximity. So when I say proximity, I mean you want to be close to her. So when you're talking to her, in those first 15 minutes when you first talk to a girl, you want to be close to her. And we'll go over that in just a little bit here. I'll give you some more examples of what you're going to do in the interaction. That's really going to help you out. Okay, and the third, which I think is the most important, I think that if you don't have eye contact, everything's going to kind of mess you up. The way to really seduce a girl is to connect with her physically and emotionally. And the way to do that, the best way to do that, is through eye contact. And it's very logical. Think about it. When you're giving a woman eye contact, that really deep eye contact, which I talk about in a lot of stuff, okay, that eye contact is so important. Because when you're giving that deep eye contact, she feels like you're listening to her. She feels connected to you. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul. It's the eye contact that's going to make her feel like you're actually interested in what she's saying and what she's talking about. Of course, you can be faking it, right? You can give eye contact and not listen to a word she's saying. And we'll go into that later, but that's very important that you are listening to her, okay? But the eye contact, she knows that you're with her in that moment. And a lot of guys who are nervous, they don't know how to give that eye contact. They're very all over the place. They're looking all over the place, and eye contact is very hard for them. So you're going to be the guy who's going to be super, super into everything that's going on in the moment and very confident. And you're going to do that through deep eye contact. I want to go back to touching for a second. And I want to tell you, what you can do to also make her feel attracted to you via touch. So I gave you the certain places, and I told you about proximity. Okay, and then you want to throw all that together, right? So you want to have touching those different spots, being close to her. But touching is only going to be as good as when you throw in your body language and eye contact. So if you're going to touch her, let's say you're talking to a girl and, you want to lead her across the room, right? And before you do that, instead of looking down at her breasts or somewhere strange, you're going to be looking her in the eye. And then you're going to put your hand on her waist, and then you're going to lead her. Okay? It's going to be weird if you're just not focusing in on that moment. So you need to combine the touching, the eye contact, and the alpha body language. Okay, next, let's go into verbal. So, when you are seducing a girl, especially if you're doing it in 15 minutes, you're going to have to be able to verbally seduce her. You're going to have to be able to talk to her in such a way that's going to turn her on. So let's talk about what you can do in terms of verbal escalation. First of all, it's going to be in your tonality. So do you see how I'm talking to you right now? It's kind of deep. It's kind of slow. It's almost as if I'm seducing you right now, minus the little crack in my voice that you just heard. But tonality is going to be really key in terms of how you say the things you're going to say. And again, going back to eye contact, I can't tell you enough how strong the seduction process is when you have a deep tonality like this. And I don't mean you make your voice deep, but you just slow it down and you talk a little more seductive. And you mix that with eye contact. Oh my God, girls go crazy over that. Now, when you first meet a girl, you don't want to have that super seductive tonality in the beginning. That's something that you want to have, as you start to get to know her a little bit better. So tonality is not just about being talking slow and such, but it's also the excitement in your voice. When you first meet a girl, whether you're approaching her in the day or you're approaching her at a bar, you want to be very excited. Excuse me. You want to be very excited. Hey, what's going on? I saw you over here. You looked adorable. I had to come over and say hi. So there's your opener right there. And you're saying it very excitable. But then, as you get to know her and you're talking and you're getting to know her better and hearing the things she's saying, you start to slow down the things you're saying. You say to her in the middle of a sentence, whoa, stop for a second. You are absolutely beautiful. I just can't believe I just noticed this. Okay, anyways, you were saying. You'll say something just like that. Throw her off. And it's all happening through tonality, the way you're speaking to her. Language. Okay, so obviously when it comes to verbal seduction, you have to know what to say. Now, I just gave you an example, right? Language is using compliments. It's letting her know how sexy she is. Now, here's the key, and this is what a lot of guys get wrong, is you don't want to overdo it. You can't over-compliment a girl. That's not seduction. You can only do it at the right moments. You only want to throw in a compliment or tell a woman that she's beautiful when you know that she's throwing signs at you that she's sort of interested in you. Again, it's that dance. So, for example, if you're talking to a woman and she starts to ask you questions, that's a really big sign that she's interested in you. And then maybe at that point, you can throw in something like a compliment to her, telling her she has good style. Or maybe you guys start talking about a favorite food that you each other like, and you can compliment her and say she has good taste. Wow, you have amazing taste in food. Okay, you know what? You and I are going to go out. We're going on a date, and I'm going to take you to the best sushi restaurant ever because you have such good taste in food. That's seduction right there. That's direct. That's honest. You're using your words to seduce her. And then when you first meet a girl, you can even go as far as being a lot more sexual. And it's crazy because guys are like, you can do this in 15 minutes, and you absolutely can. And again, we'll go into it in a little bit. We'll go into what I mean by being able to go sexual, because there's a certain time you need to do it. I'll give you kind of an outline of what the first 15 minutes look like when you're seducing a girl, okay? Okay, listening. So I know I told you I was going to go into this a little bit. I was talking about eye contact, and you're talking to a girl, that you have to be not just looking deep into her eyes, but you got to be listening to what she's saying. If you're not listening to what she's saying, you're not going to be able to connect with her. yeah, she might think you're listening to her, and that's all good, but then you're not going to know what to say next. And that's a big tip that I talk about in terms of knowing how to talk to girls. You need to be listening, active listening, so you can use what she says and work off of what she says and start talking to her on those topics. She's talking about food. You're listening in. You're not listening to your thoughts and listening to how nervous you are, but you're actually listening to her, and then you can use what she says to continue conversation and move it into a seductive conversation, right? So you're connecting with her. You're getting to know her. She says something really cool. Now you use your touch, right? You pull her in for a hug. Wow, you know what? You are fucking awesome. I can't believe it took so long for me to finally meet you. Get over here, give me a hug. Pull her in for a big hug, squeeze her hard, and then let go. And then go back in a conversation. There's the dance right there, the little push-pull. You'll throw in something really good to get her feeling sexy. And then you'll kind of throw her off by just going back in a conversation, right? That's why you don't want to over-compliment. Give her a compliment. You don't take it back. You don't have to neg her or give her some kind of insult. But give her a compliment, but then go back to normal conversation. It's that teasing that makes her feel really, really excited. So let's put it all together. Let's really, throw this all into some examples I can give you guys in terms of how this all works, because I know this has been a little bit of a jumble of information, but now that you know all that, we can throw this together in very specific ways. So there are 2 places that you can meet a woman. And this really is any situation. It's literally anywhere, even on the freaking moon, okay? There's only 2 ways you can meet a girl. It's a casual setting and a social setting. Now, for those of you who are listening who know anything about the PUA community, the pickup community, you might have referred to casual setting as day game or social setting as night game. But I don't like those terms, and I'll tell you why. Because a casual setting is not just during the day. So a casual setting can be, where like a grocery store, a public setting, and usually in a casual setting, you're meeting someone during the day. That is true. But you can meet anyone in a casual setting at night. If you're at a grocery store at night, if you're at a library at night, it doesn't matter where the sun is. It doesn't matter if it's day or night, but it matters, what kind of environment you're in and what kind of energy there is, right? So there's a casual energy and the casual setting, and then there's the social settings, which is usually referred to as night game, but I don't like that because you could be at a pool party during the day and the sun is bright, but it's not the same thing as a casual setting during the day, right? You're not at a grocery store anymore, you're at a party. So those are the 2 types of environments you're going to meet girls, casual and social. And the reason why, we've split them up and guys have taught different ways, because energy is very, very important to seduction. When I say energy, it's the feeling of what's happening in an interaction. And this is something that you're going to understand the more and more you go out, right? So that energy is going to change the way that you're able to interact with a person, right? So in a casual setting, it's more of a casual, relaxed environment, right? So you can't really get away with a lot that you can get away with in a social setting where you guys are partying. And we'll go into those details in just a second here and teach you exactly what it means to approach and seduce a girl in a casual setting and in a social setting, okay? So casual settings, like I said, daytime usually, but it's definitely, some kind of public setting, somewhere that's just, it's not a party, it's not a bar, anything like that, okay? So what you're going to want to do when you meet a girl casually is you're going to want to verbally seduce her. Mainly. Now, of course, there's a little bit of physical in there, but you're mainly going to want to verbally seduce her, okay? So let me give you an example. I'll give you an example of a 15-minute seduction approach. Let's say you're at a grocery store. You see a beautiful girl. You're really interested. You want to say something to her because your hormones are going crazy. You know that you're attracted to this girl. So you go up to her. first thing out of your mouth is, "Excuse me, you looked adorable, and I had to come over and say hi. What is your name?" Okay, so stop there for a second. You're already using verbal seduction right here because you're letting her know she's beautiful. Now, of course, during that, you're going to add in a little bit of physical, meaning you're going to give a good eye contact. And your body language is really strong and alpha, masculine. Okay? And then she says, "Oh, thank you." Right? She's, she feels that compliment. She's like, "Oh, that's so nice." And you say to her, "So what are you up to today? What are you shopping for?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm getting some pasta." And then what do you say? You say, "You know what? I love pasta. In fact, some of the best pasta I ever made was with this one right here." And then you pick something off the shelf and you show it to her. And at this point, you kind of get a little physically close to her. Now maybe you go shoulder to shoulder with her. And you're showing her this pasta. And you start talking about it. And you use your words. You're descriptive. You say, "I made this pasta with this amazing, amazing marinara sauce that just is perfectly sweet and also spicy at the same time. And it was so delicious, and I made it with this great organic beef and blah, 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 blah," right? So you're using your words to kind of describe something. You're having her picture something in her head. You're almost taking her away from that moment. Now you're talking about pasta. She comments on something. You comment back. You're going back and forth. You're listening to her. You start to slow down your voice a little bit. Maybe you throw in some kind of compliment about her shoes, right? Something that you think is really cute on her. And then after about 10, 15 minutes, you say to her, "You know what? You seem really cool. You and I are going to hang out. I want to take you out. I know this is crazy. We just met. I don't even know who you are. In fact, you could be a crazy stalker. But you and I are going to go on a date, and we're going to get some amazing, amazing Italian food. What's your number?" Boom. It's very simple. And it's actually very simple during the day because really the whole point of casual seduction is being able to hold conversation and being interesting and saying stuff that's going to make you interesting. And so that's the big key in terms of being able to make her interested in you during the day, holding the conversation, getting to the point where you're like, "You know what? I think you're cool. You seem cool. We should hang out sometime. Let me get your number." And of course, like I said, eye contact and body language are key. Very, very key. So make sure that no matter what, during the conversation, you're holding the eye contact and you got the masculine body language. Okay, let's go into social settings. This is fun. It's way more fun in my opinion because to seduce a girl and meet a girl in a social setting, because you can get away with a lot more and there's a lot more involved because you're going to use a lot of different techniques, okay? So, like I said, nighttime setting, usually a bar, a club, or a party setting. Again, doesn't matter where the sun is, but some kind of party atmosphere where the energy is high. People are having a good time. People are socializing because you got to remember, a casual setting, something that's just very chill and the energy is chill, people are not expecting you to approach them and talk to them. But in a social setting, it's very much expected of you and other people to be talking to others, strangers. It doesn't matter, but everyone's having a good time talking to each other, right? Again, it's social, so the energy is high. So with the social settings seduction, you're going to be seducing her more physically. So you're going to use more of your touch. So I'll give you a good example. So we'll go through a type of approach. Now, usually for a social setting, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it takes usually about 30 minutes to 45 minutes in a single interaction to get a number from a girl that's going to be solid. But it is very possible to get her and seduce her in 15 minutes and make her, desire you and want you that quickly. It is very possible, but you have to be very good at it. And that's why we're talking about this right now. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. So when you first meet a girl at night, usually she's with her friends. I'm sorry, not at night, in a social setting, but a bar, a club, whatever. She's usually not alone. It's very, very rare she's going to be alone. She's going to be with her friends, right? So you're going to approach a big group of girls. Anywhere from like 2 to 6 girls. And you're going to have to go up there and give your really, really high energy hello, right? So you're going to say, hey, you guys look like a lot of fun. I had to come over here and say hi. What's going on? Some girls are going to be like, who the fuck is this guy? They're not really going to react to you, and they might blow you out. You might get rejected. Okay. But some girls, most girls, if you do it right, are going to be like, hey, what's up? Right? Because they're expecting to talk to people. They want to meet people, especially guys if they're single. So you're going to give that high energy, hello. And right away, you're going to get physical with them, right? You're going to say, you guys, look, you're having so much fun. Okay, high five. You start giving everyone high fives, right? So you're immediately starting the touching. And then you start talking to the girls. Okay, so how do you girls know each other? Okay, cool, awesome. And then you're going to point to one of the girls, maybe the one that you like, and say, you look like a troublemaker. Okay, who is this girl? And you put your arm around her, right? So now you're being more physical with her. And ideally, you want to be more touching the girl that you're interested in, okay? You don't want to be touching everyone because you really only want to seduce and attract the one that you're going after, okay? Girls can be very competitive, so if you start attracting everybody in the group hardcore, it might be a little bit tougher for you to get the number from the girl. But we call that a good problem, okay? So what happens is you put your arm around the girl you like and you say, who is this girl? This one looks like a troublemaker, with a big smile on your face, right? Because if you're too serious about it, what happens? Well, you look like an asshole, and then the people don't start to like you, and then the girls maybe reject you. So you start talking a little bit more, and you take your arm off of her, within like 15 seconds. You don't want to overdo it, right? Again, it's the dance. You want to go back and forth. Okay. Then all of a sudden you start getting into a conversation with her alone, right? So what happens in a conversation with a big group is usually what you can do is you can kind of get the one girl that you like alone in conversation by just gearing conversation more towards her. Okay, so once you start to, and I call this like a mini isolation, like you're not isolating her from the group completely by taking her somewhere else, but you're just kind of isolating her in conversation. And of course her friends are cool with that because they already know you because you've been talking to them for about 5 minutes or so, right? So they already think you're cool. And so when you start talking to that girl, she says something that you like or you think is cool, you go, oh my God, you were so cool. Get over here. Give me a big hug. You were so cool. And then you keep on talking, right? And then you end up getting closer to her. So remember we talked about proximity, right? So in some kind of social setting, it's usually high energy. Maybe there's music, there's a lot of, things happening. You can get close to her. I mean, like inches away from her. You can even get so close to her that when you lean in to say something in her ear, your cheeks touch. That's a really good one. And then maybe you want to lean in, grab her waist. And I say grab, I don't even really mean grab. I mean like you lightly put your hand on her waist and you kind of lean forward and you go cheek to cheek and you say something to her. So now you're starting to get more physically involved with her. Right now you're only maybe talking to her for like 5 minutes. You're at the 10-minute mark. You've already had a good conversation for 5 minutes. And trust me, you can get a lot of conversation in 5 minutes. It's very possible. Okay. And, sorry. Whoops. Okay, cool. So, you can get a lot of conversation in that 5 minutes. Now, when you get to the 10-minute mark, you're going to be more direct and honest with her. You know what? You are absolutely gorgeous. I can't believe I just noticed that. Okay, here's what's going to happen. So you say that, and then you grab her hand and you do a little twirl. You just twirl her around like you're dancing. So now I literally mean dancing, okay? So you say, you know what? And you grab her hand, give her a little twirl, pull her in close to you. You say, you are going to be my new girlfriend, but only for the next 5 minutes. And you say this while looking in her eyes, talking slow, lowering your voice, but make sure she can hear you. And then at that point, you can even go in for a kiss. It's that easy. You have officially accomplished seducing her within 15 minutes, all through touching her, being interesting to conversation, escalating the conversation to a point where she feels sexy. Now you might say to me, well, Tripp, in theory it sounds great, but this is really hard stuff. You know what? You're right. It's not easy. And that's why I'm going to tell you what it's really, truly going to take for you to get to that point where you can do that with a girl. Because I didn't say much, right? But really that's all you need. To be able to touch her in a few different ways, hold interest in conversation, have solid body language, have good eye contact. That's really all you need. But of course, you need the magic pill. And what's that? Taking action. So, by taking action and going out there, you're going to need courage. A lot of guys are scared to do this. Well, I'm going to give you some action steps that you can take right now. You're going to have to go out and start practicing this stuff. And maybe do it step by step. Go out there. Approach. Continuously approach girls. Get rejected. Talk to more girls. Practice opening. Practice high energy. Practice going in there, talking to them, getting them interested in you, being able to mini isolate the girl that you like. Practice touching. And all this is going to take courage. You're going to have to step up and step out of your comfort zone, because I promise you this, success lies outside your comfort zone. Hands down, that's where success is. It's outside your comfort zone. You're never going to succeed if you stay in your little bubble or in your basement. You're going to have to go out there and do it. Here's another thing that's really key in terms of what it's going to take. In order to really seduce a girl and do all the things that I just said, you're going to have real interest. So I know I might sound contradictory here, but you're going to really want to do this to girls that you're actually interested in, because it's going to come off so much more real. So again, I know it's a little contradictory because I'm telling you to approach a lot of girls and talk to a lot of girls, and of course you can't be interested in all the girls, but for seduction, when it really comes down to that point, I want you to be trying to practice on girls that you're really attracted to. Yeah, you're going to be more nervous, but you're really going to actually feel that sexuality. You're going to be horny, right? You're going to be attracted to that girl. You're going to want to touch her. You're going to want to talk to her. You're going to show real interest in her. That's the whole key. Real interest. Now, why is that so important? It's because it's going to be natural. You're going to make it easier for yourself because it's going to come off more natural. She's going to feel it. You're not going to be faking it. She's going to feel that. Girls are really good at telling whether you're faking it and bullshitting or you're being real. They're really good at that. And it's going to help you out to actually have a real interest in the girl. And then there's rejection immunity, which I kind of talked about, right? So you're going to have to go out and get rejected. You're going to have to be immune to rejection. And the way to do that, and the way to get over your fear of rejection, which I know you probably have, is to get immune to it. And there's no shot that you can take, okay? There's no immunity shot for rejection. The closest to that is going out there and getting rejected. Whatever you're afraid of, you have to put yourself out there. Right? So if you're afraid of snakes, you're going to have to go and start, holding a snake. If you're afraid of heights and you want to get over your fear of heights, you might have to skydive. Now, these are extreme ways of dealing with fear, but in terms of rejection, that's the magic pill right there. Got to go out and get rejected.